Hello and welcome to Keep It Vegan. Today we're going to be making tofu katsu curry. I kind of stumbled into this recipe sideways, trying to make something else once. It is loosely based on my vegan version of KFC, which I'm going to do in a future video. But for now, what we're going to need is a little bit of oil. Normally I'd avoid using oil, but unfortunately in this case we do need it. Almond milk, tablespoon or two of flax meal, cumin, cayenne pepper, some breadcrumbs, silk tofu, I think this one you can get from Tesco, that's where I got it, salt, pepper, brown rice, cornmeal, which you can get from any major supermarket, and ready-made katsu curry sauce. I do have a recipe for katsu curry from scratch on the way, one that won't include wheat, because this one is not friendly for celiacs, but we'll cross that bridge in the future. So, the first thing we want to do is put our rice on. I cannot recommend this thing enough. We picked this up recently. It's the Tofu Cool Touch. And it is the proverbial, actually turn that off first, that is the proverbial dog's doodads. As someone who detests the process of actually cooking rice, it does make the process a lot easier. So I'm just going to put my rice in there. I'm going to do more rice than necessary for this meal, because this also forms the basis of our lunches, which we take to work. So we've got, that's pretty much exactly 4 cups left. Okay. So the conversion for this for brown rice is 4 cups of rice to 4.5 cups of water. There's probably a more efficient way to do this, but I'm committed now. And yeah, this thing's great. It's like a fire and forget kind of situation for rice cooking, which is fantastic. So 3, 4, and about 4.5. So in that goes. Just make sure it's all evenly spread out in there. On goes the lid. Onto heat mode, and we don't have to worry about that, so that's sorted. So, first step for our tofu katsu mixture. When I originally made this, I used firm tofu and then breaded each thing and did it that way. But with silk tofu, it kind of falls apart, so you end up with this kind of breadcrumb mixture, which I actually quite like. So we're going to reproduce that today. Not sure where all our cutlery's gone, or where our scissors are. Oh well, it'll turn up. I'll just use a knife instead. So the first thing we want to do is we are going to add our ingredients for the breadcrumb mixture. So we're going to do 1/2 cup of ready-made breadcrumbs, or just a bit less. We're going to do 1/2 cup of cornmeal. It's funny because this is actually, apart from the tofu itself, this is actually the sort of recipe that we would make from having stuff just lying around in the kitchen, though I appreciate some of this is not exactly the sort of thing you would just have lying around. Right. 1/2 cup of cornmeal, because we do love our carbohydrates. Carbs are our friend. Goes that. And then we want a tablespoon, don't know why I said it that way, tablespoon of cayenne pepper. Or thereabouts. Tablespoon of cumin. Sorry for the camera shaking. I do not have enough muscle in my neck to hold my head straight while I'm shaking this stuff. Cumin, dash of pepper, dash of salt. Just mix this in. Okay, and then the next step we're going to open our tofu. Watching fingers, obviously. And then there'll be a little excess water in there, so just try and drain that out. There is a more efficient way to open these, but as per usual, I never think before I do anything. Interesting and good news. For future Food Friday videos, I've enlisted the help of Sam, who some of you will recognise from the podcast this month, which you can find. It's linked on our Facebook page, but you can find it on our Patreon page. Sam joined me for this month's podcast, which was really cool. She will be joining us for the future Food Friday videos, which is also pretty awesome. Right, so we've got our tofu, that's sorted. Next step, we're going to add, forgot my flax meal. It's unlike me to forget my flax meal. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of flax. This recipe will feed 2 people. It's not super healthy for you, but well, there's good things in it and there's some not so great things in it for you, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. So half a cup of almond milk. You can use whatever milk you want. I prefer almond milk because I like the nutty taste. And we're just going to mix this together. And you will get this strange kind of bready, hobnob left out in the rain kind of texture, but that's perfect, that's what we're looking for. Smells like breakfast with a strange hint of barbecue. And then we're going to mix in our tofu. Tofu being it's not even a superfood, it's a wonder food when it comes to protein. Come on, you sucker, get out of there. Protein actually has, well, soy has every one of your essential amino acids, which is pretty cool. Big fan of tofu, big fan of soy in general. Right, so that's not big enough. It's not even almost big enough, in fact. Let's find a mixing bowl. Or equivalent. Oh, that'll do. I know. Cows go moo, sheep go bar. Ben complains his kitchen stuff isn't big enough. I know. It's a weekly catchphrase, but it's true. So I know this is looking very strange at the moment, but I need you to trust me. I know what I'm doing. Contrary to popular belief, I'm just going to give this a good mix. The breadcrumb mixture isn't going to bond to the tofu particularly, we just kind of want it all broken up. Like so. It smells amazing, but in a really weird way. So the next step is to take our Katz sauce, dump it into a pan, get most of it in there. And then this is 190 ml, 190 grams even. So we'll fill it up with about 50 ml of water. Should do it. So 50 ml of water. As I say, I do have a recipe for this from scratch, which should be a bit more friendly to our gluten-free friends. But for now, I'm going to use this one. You can get this from most little Tesco's now, actually, so it's that little bit easier as well. And I'm going to put that on a really low heat just to simmer. Right. Wait for the rice to be done. Leave that to simmer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to quickly we'll fry it now. And that way, I'd rather wait a little bit longer for the rice than have the rice burn in there. So we're going to add a bit of oil to the pan, like so. Turn up the heat fairly high to start with, just to get it moving. Put some of this stuff away. How you doing in there, friend? He's doing great. Like the proverbial Gary Busey, he's doing great. Just try and tidy a little bit as we go. Cool. Going to turn that up a wee bit to start with, just to get it moving. Like I've mentioned before, very impatient. Ugh, that's actually surprisingly heavy. So, it goes in there. And, right, we're getting some of this now, that's good. Excellent. Do. Wait till that starts to hiss. Rice seems to be doing fine. This thing's great because it's cooking mode now, and then as soon as it's done cooking, that light will go yellow and it'll just sit there and keep it warm. It's way cool. And it cost us like 30 quid as well from Tesco, so that's... We're not sponsored by Tesco. I feel like it's worth mentioning. We're not Tesco sponsored, it's just that's our local supermarket. What? Why are you clicking at me? Why you click? I'll move that away from the cupboard. Away from the cupboard, actually. There we go. Okay, so we're about there with this, so that's good. Now we're going to turn out our tofu mixture. Yeah. And you'll notice it looks a little bit like scrambled egg. And the key thing to start with is just to keep it moving. Let some of the oil get up on there on the food. Yeah, to be honest, you can probably give that a bit of a stir and turn that down. You could probably feed, say, 3 or 4 people with this recipe, but it's the sort of thing, because it usually mostly uses up stuff that we just have in the cupboard, it's the sort of thing that we will end up kind of cooking last thing of the day, and just woof. But there you go. Add a bit more oil, because we really don't want anything sticking to the bottom of the pan. So what we're going to do is spread it flat, and then what we'll do is we'll flip it over a bit like a pancake or so in a second. That's bubbling away nicely. Again, it's just to get the that paste kind of dissolved in the water really, and add a bit more body to it. There we go. Yeah, last time I made this I did actually use the tofu, cut that exact brand of tofu into slices, tried to do it the same way I do with like cauldron, like firmer tofu, and did not end well. I'm just going to keep this moving. And then we'll turn as much of it over as possible. Again, it'd be easier with a bigger pan, but whatever. I'm not going to risk flipping it on camera because I'll only toss it up. Okie dokie, so that's doing that, that's doing that. How you doing, Rice? Oh wow, there we go. Goodness. Had a bit of bite to it. Ta-da! Omelette. Now, I am looking to do a kind of a full English recipe for the show, but I will only be able to do that once I've got black salt, which I'm trying to track down at the moment. It's probably a lot easier than I'm making it for myself, but I want to make scrambled eggs with tofu. But black salt is great because it's very high in sulfur, so it's got that kind of eggy smell and flavour to it. So that's the task at the moment. We'll also be having our big barbecue special coming up soon, as the weather's starting to improve and we are heading for barbecue season. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to stick to the bottom here, so I'm going to add a bit more oil. It's not a pretty dinner, but it's a very tasty dinner. And that's the important thing. It's all about looks, kids. It's not all about looks, that's a terrible philosophy, don't listen to me. Right. Okay, that is coming along nicely, so I'm going to turn that down to 1. Just going to keep this moving. Rice is still going. It's getting slightly warm in here now. There we go. So what we really end up with is a kind of crispy on the outside, but still moderately chewy. Really tasty, almost like a tofu pancake, which we then drizzle with the cat sauce, and then we serve that with a bed of rice. So that's very, very tasty. Right, I'm just going to quickly Easy. Dry these off ready for serving. It's all good. There we go. You see we start to get these brown parts where it starts to seal everything in, which is where we want to be. Okay, that's coming along nicely as well. Just going to aim to keep it moving. Okay, so rice is done. Awesome. This is done. Awesome. We are good to go. So, best way to serve this up will be to just cut it down the middle. It's not going to stay particularly neat because it's, as you can see, it's mostly still quite kind of mashed on the inside, but that's fine, we're happy with that. Just going to transfer this to the plate, and then we'll do the same with this one. There we go, close enough. So there we go. Just clean it up a little bit. Okie dokie. Sauce we'll do last, so now we're going to add our rice, and the way we're going to do this is we are just going to use the cup. So 1 cup of brown rice. Always go brown rice over white rice because brown rice is very, very good for you. White rice, not so much. It pretty much turns to sugar the second you eat it. That's good. I'm going to leave the lid on that. That's rice for lunch tomorrow. And then we're going to take our sauce and give it. Ah, shit, that's one. A quick run round, and then on goes the Katsu sauce. There we go, we've still got a little bit at the bottom there, so I'm going to claim that. And that is pretty much it. If you've got the stuff in, it's a fairly quick recipe. This is taken in total about 25 minutes, I'd say. You know, it is. There are a couple of things in there that aren't so great for you, but for the most part, it is really good for you. And it looks delicious. So let's just grab a little sprig of coriander. Didn't mean to drop that there. There we go. Beautiful. Right. See you next time, people. I'm going to go and eat.